Greetings, class. I hope everyone enjoyed the holiday weekend and the extra day off. Wanted to jump into week 3 of Introduction to AI for Business. Now, this week we're going to talk about the past, the present, and future of AI. We're going to establish the historical context of AI. We're going to look at some of the major breakthroughs, current trends, and future predictions that we see on the horizon. So I think it's important that before we start looking forward, we take a quick look back. Now, last week we explored the topic of ethics in AI, and we took a moment to understand the impact that AI can have, right? The concept of biases. We talked about privacy concerns, the question of who controls the data, the energy consumption of using a tool like AI. And hopefully the takeaway that you guys all had is that AI is not just a tool, but it's a decision-making partner. And as future business leaders, it's up to each of us to make sure it's used fairly, transparently, and ethically. And that conversation will continue throughout this course, especially as we look at what's coming next. Now, I want to take a moment and rewind the clock, okay? Where did AI come from? Well, the idea of machines that think like humans isn't new. It goes all the way back to ancient myths and science fiction. But modern AI really began in 1956 when a group of researchers at Dartmouth College came together and coined the term artificial intelligence. In those early days, AI focused on logic, rules, and solving problems like a calculator on steroids. This was known as symbolic AI. The system didn't really learn, it just followed instructions. But progress was slow. Computers weren't powerful enough, and there wasn't enough data. That led to decades of high hopes, followed by disappointment. We now call those AI winters. Now, things began to change in the 1900s and early 2000s. We saw faster processors, the rise of the internet, and new techniques like machine learning that allowed computers to not just follow rules, but also to learn from data. We did see some highlights, some big moments. An example of that would be IBM's Deep Blue supercomputer beating the world's chess champion in 1997. We also saw let's try it again today, folks. IBM's Watson winning the Jeopardy game in 2011. After that, we saw the rise of neural networks, which were basically algorithms loosely inspired by the human brain. Now, these breakthroughs laid the foundation for today's AI tools. So if we step into the present, we see that AI is already here. Let's look a bit closer at where we are now. Now, we live in a world where AI is already embedded into daily life. Now, what do I mean by that? For those of you who have Netflix, where it recommends your next show, that's an example of an AI algorithm. Gmail finishing your sentences. Microsoft Copilot finishing your sentences and referencing the rest of your emails and files. Customer service chatbots answering your questions, or even Spotify suggesting your playlist based on your mood. But what's different now is that we're seeing the rise of generative AI starting back in 2022, 2023. We saw tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, more recently Claude, and Perplexity joined the fray. Now, these tools don't just analyze, they can create. They can write blogs, generate images, summarize emails, write code, and more. But behind many of these tools are what's called large language models. They've been trained on enormous amounts of text. They don't think, but they can predict patterns in human language in ways that feel surprisingly human. Businesses now are using these tools across departments. All right. Marketing teams use them to generate content. HR uses them to screen resumes. Finance uses them to detect fraud and forecast revenue. And operations uses them to optimize logistics and reduce waste. Now, the present isn't about asking whether to use AI. It's about how strategically and ethically we can use it because it's already here. Now, if we take a moment and start to look into the future of where AI is going, it's moving significantly faster than it was. Since about 2022, 2023, it has taken the world by storm and it's really, really pushing hard. So, to understand that, it's moving faster than any technical revolution that we've ever experienced as a species. It's much faster than most people expected, even those within the AI creation industry. Now, some predictions for the next 5 to 10 years include that 70 to 80% of businesses are going to be using AI to power one or more key functions. Agentic AI systems are on the horizon that can plan, act, and adjust on behalf of users. And we're expecting more personalized AI assistants. Now, this isn't just for executives, but for anyone with a phone. With the recent launch of Google's Pixel 10, we see that wave beginning. Now, we also see AI in areas like healthcare, which is where it's being used to analyze medical images or even assisting in surgeries. Education, it's starting to be used to customize learning paths, develop student materials, and identify ways to optimize students' performance through giving them support in new and unique ways catered to the individual. Retail, it's definitely being used to predict inventory needs or even automating supply chains. But I think it's important to understand that the future of AI isn't just about features, it's about choices. How do we balance efficiency with fairness? How do we keep humans in the loop? How do we build systems we can trust, not just use? So these are business questions, and they're your questions to consider as future decision makers. Now, what does this mean for you? It means that understanding AI isn't optional anymore. It's a core skill, like knowing Excel in the 2000s or email in the 90s. And no, you don't need to be a programmer to succeed in an AI-powered workplace, but you do need to understand what AI is and isn't. Know when and where to use it. Ask smart questions about ethics and impact, and be comfortable experimenting with the tools as they evolve. This week, we're going to dig deeper into the history, explore some predictions, and reflect on how AI connects to your goals, whether you're headed into marketing, healthcare, entrepreneurship, or something else entirely. Now, what to expect this week? As always, we're going to have readings and videos that walk you through the timeline of AI. We're going to have a discussion board where you're going to share your thoughts on AI's evolution and future. And of course, we'll have a writing assignment connecting what you've learned to a specific industry or even job function. My advice this week is to keep an open mind, ask questions, make connections, and think about your role, not just as a user of AI, but as a shaper of how it's used. Thanks for joining me for this week's lecture. Let's explore where AI came from and where it's going and how you can make sure it goes somewhere good. I hope you have a great day. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help.